Yo, 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 what's good? Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at in the world. It's your boy, Tyrus Bane, aka Definition, aka Snaps the Little Gorilla. Coming at y'all with a quick live stream. Nicolette Moore's in the building. I ain't seen you in a minute, Queen. How you doing? Give y'all a minute to get in here, please. When you get in, hit the like button before we jump off into this. It is Sunday, October, whatever the fuck, 27th, I believe. Yep, Sunday, October 27th, 2024. It is one of those days, man. Yesterday it was 84 degrees. Today it's 66. So, yeah, the weather fluctuation is kind of awkward and weird, but you know, it is what it is. South Carolina is kind of like the California of the East Coast when it comes to the weather. So, you know, it is what it is. So, how y'all doing? In the midst, first let me welcome my freedom marchers, my freedom family, my freedom lovers, and my freedom fighters. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about Russia and North Korea. Particularly how North Korea has deployed thousands of troops to Russia. And now there are reports from our own government that, you know, of course, gathered by our military intelligence, that there are thousands of North Koreans on the front line of Russia versus Ukraine. Now, there's no word yet on whether or not North Korean soldiers have engaged with Ukrainian soldiers, but they are indeed there. So a little bit of history on this, a little bit of background, all right, because I looked into it. Apparently in June, Putin and Kim Jong-un got together. They had a meeting, essentially, and they came up with an agreement. An agreement that would basically align them if there were any type of military action that involved war with other countries. Okay, so this agreement involves basically Russia can essentially call for troops and assets to be sent over to them to help them in the event of war, and North Korea can also do the same with Russia. So that's what we have. That is the background for this whole situation. So it wasn't just an arbitrary, Kim Jong-un just like one day, you know what? Let me send some North Korean troops up over there. No, that's not what happened. All right, they had an agreement. So basically, that was in June, and it's Article 4 of the agreement, if you guys want to look it up. It just basically states that North Korea can use Russian troops as they see fit, and Russia can use North Korean troops as they see fit. So that's what Russia has done. Now, like I said, are these North Koreans engaging in actual hot war with Ukraine on the behalf of Russia? I have no idea. I don't think they are just yet. I think they're keeping them in the tuck in case NATO gets more involved, but who knows what that's going to look like. So we have to understand that this whole thing started with Russia invading Ukraine 3 years ago. All right, I think no, 2 years ago. 2 years ago. I think it started in what, 2022. Yeah, that's when Russia invaded. So no, it's 2021. So it has been 3 years. Anyway, it started with Russia invading Ukraine, and now you have Ukraine actually engaging in conflict with Russia in Russia. They have actually taken over some territory. All right. Now, far be it from me to feel any sort of bad for Russia for this happening. They kind of brought this on themselves. You know, they were trying to do all this, that, and the third. Look, they understood. Russia understood that the United States would get as involved as they could, and NATO would get as involved as they could in this thing if they went ahead and invaded. All right. But I don't think they believe that it would be this effective. Now, you have Ukraine and Russia, and now Russia is essentially desperate, right? So they are using their end of the agreement with North Korea. And so now you have North Korean soldiers in Russia, all right? And I believe that they're just going to hold them off until they feel they need them. I don't think they necessarily want to use them, because that would mean something else. That would mean something else. If they actually had to use them, I think that would further entrench them in their alliance with North Korea. And in the event North Korea wanted to get a wild hair up their ass and invade South Korea, right, and try to, you know, basically merge North Korea and South Korea and make it all one country under North Korean rulership, they would not hesitate. All right. That's the idea. That's why North Korea would do this. That's why they would enter into this agreement. That would be the only way it would be beneficial for them, is if North Korea said, yo, I want to absorb South Korea, but we have a little problem with the United States military. They are in North Korea. And what has been holding us off is the fact that if we attack South Korea while the United States is installed there, then we will go be at war with the United States. That's why we have these installations everywhere. That's why we have the installations in Germany. That's why we have them in London, in Italy, where all the fronts of the World War II in one occurred. We have essentially installations in those European countries that we helped fight off Germany, and also in the North Korean War, and in which China was actually involved as well. So China was actually also involved in the Korean War, and we helped fight them off. So of course we installed our military there to deter that from happening again. Of course, there is some benefit to us for that. We're not just doing it arbitrarily. We're not just doing it altruistically, right? We benefit from that. We have some benefit, because not only are we deterring other countries from just trying to start this shit up again, we also are placing ourselves, I mean, when I say ourselves, I mean our U.S. military. We are placing ourselves in strategic positions in case some shit pop off. We can deploy at the drop of a hat and get anywhere in the world that we need to get to, fast, quick, and in a hurry. All right. So it is not just on land, y'all. It's in the international waters. So you know, we have aircraft carriers, submarines, you know, attack ships, you know, warships, and all that type of shit, all over the world. And so we are strategically placed to assert our dominance over the entire world, y'all. And China, Russia, North Korea, specifically, are getting tired of that shit. And then when it comes to the Middle East, of course, Iran and other countries that align with Iran, they're tired of it as well. So what better way to stand up against the dominance of the United States than to form your own alliance to combat that? And trying to remove the petrodollar as the world currency, right, by OPEC is a strategy that is a part of that, right? So all these things are happening. All the chess pieces are being positioned across on the board. All right, they're being positioned, and as of right now, No pieces have been moved yet. They're just they're placing all the pieces on the board right now. They're placing all the pieces on the board. Despite Ukraine versus Russia, despite Israel versus Hezbollah and Hamas, you know, the chess pieces haven't really started. They're playing checkers right now. See, right now we're in the checker stage, right? It seems pretty straightforward, right? Hamas attacked Israel. Israel retaliated. Russia invaded Ukraine. Ukraine is defending themselves. But now other things are happening. Other pieces are being placed, right? We have the attack on the Iranian embassy, right?
Please say a command.
We have the attack on the Ukrainian embassy by Israel, right? Which was the first direct attack between Iran and Israel. But they're going to tell you that Iran launching missile strikes at Israel was the first move. No. It was the attack on the Iranian embassy, which is essentially Iran. All right. Israel attacked Iran first. Then Iran attacked, and then back and forth. And then now you're hearing about the so-called retaliatory attack by Israel. It can't be a retaliatory attack, right? It's just another attack in a series of attacks. But see, they're making such a big deal about this particular attack. More of a big deal than when they even talked about the Iranian embassy attack, right? This is such a big deal now, right? So they want you to see, and they want y'all to have this idea that Iran attacked Israel and Israel retaliated because they're planning their next move against Iran. Yeah, directly against Iran. They're tired of waiting. So while that's happening, you have North Korea with troops in Russia on their front line. All right, you got that. And then what else could be going on? You know, you have China, right? China, they're biding their time with this Taiwan thing, right? So just like Kant Garjay said, and salute to him. Oh, no, the Hobbit Kai actually said this in the chat. Salute to Kant Garjay and the Hobbit Kai and Nicolette Moore. China, they've been itching to invade Taiwan, right? But they're waiting for so many different things to occur. They want as many distractions as possible, and that is about to come into place, right? So that's what China is going to be doing. Now, I don't know if China has the same agreement with North Korea or Russia, but I would not put it past them to have some sort of agreement as such. But they do understand that Russia will be occupied with Ukraine, and North Korea North Korea has the largest standing military, just so y'all know. They have the largest standing military. I think it's like 2 million troops, right? So North Korea, they got some bodies to spare. And what's interesting is that a reporter pointed out that the soldiers that they've seen in North Korea and in Russia were kind of like scrawny. They weren't very intimidating looking, right? So it stands to reason that North Korea, well, they're saving the big shit for them, right? Of course, they're not going to send their best to Russia, right? They just need bodies there. They need fodder, okay? Cannon fodder, bullet fodder, bomb fodder. That's what they need. They need more bodies. And that's what they're going to get from North Korea. So what is China going to be doing? Well, they're going to be waiting until the right moment to invade Taiwan, right? Because understand, we have made it clear that if China invades Taiwan, we're going to directly interfere. Biden made that very clear. And he stood strong on that. And it's very interesting that he was able to stand strong on that point, where he has not stood strong anywhere else in regards to all conflicts going around the world, right? He stood very clear on that. He wasn't even clear on the Afghanistan withdrawal. That was a fucking disaster. But make no mistake, China understands, and this is why they haven't done it, right? Everybody who talks about how powerful China is and how we don't want none with China. Well, China don't want none with us either. Not unless they can get us occupied. You see, we're already spread thin, right? We're already spread thin, and they understand that they need more things to happen to spread us thinner. So we won't even bother dealing with Taiwan. We can't. And why won't we be able to do that? Well, if this Ukraine-Russia thing escalates to the point where NATO has to get involved, if NATO gets involved, we have a commitment, right? We have a commitment with NATO. We have a commitment with NATO, a commitment to NATO that Trump actually tried to remove us from, by the way, just so y'all know. Speaking from a statist mind state. Trump tried to remove us from that commitment, but you know, it is what it is. We have a commitment to NATO. If NATO gets involved directly because of the whole thing with North Korea, then we're going to have no choice but to get involved. And at the same time, if this thing between Iran and Israel escalates to where, because see, this is what Iran and Israel have been doing. They've been doing little things here and there to each other. Nothing real devastating, nothing too damaging. But at some point, one of them are going to ramp up the offensive. Yeah. So if those things happen around the same time, oh yeah, we're going to be completely occupied. Even if we don't directly get involved with Iran versus Israel and Ukraine versus Russia, we're going to have more, we're going to be deploying more troops to regions around there, right? To kind of ensure that things don't go beyond what they consider to be the war front, right? So the war fronts, so there'll be two fronts. Russia, Ukraine, Israel, and Iran. Well, actually, Israel, Lebanon, and Iran. You know, Lebanon is part of that war, that front. So if it goes beyond that, if it starts to spill out beyond that, then we're going to have to start containing, and we would have to be directly involved. But before that would happen, we would have troops placed around the fronts to make sure that it doesn't spread too far. And that's probably going to involve direct hot conflict. So that's what's going on. And once that happens, that's when I believe China is finally going to invade Taiwan. The Habakkuk thinks it's going to happen on the eve of the election. Well, it may, but I believe it would happen if we had to deploy military assets in the tens of thousands in or around Russia, Ukraine, and Iran, Israel, right? So we would not be in the position to send very many of our troops to Taiwan. Not very many. We would be able to send North Korean, maybe whoever, not North Korea, South Korea, whatever. We might have to send some people from South Korea, Japan, you know, those areas over there where we have military installations. But the problem is this: once we do that, once we start taking troops from North Korea to go help Taiwan, well, you don't think that North Korea is going to start doing shit? Let me tell y'all. When I was in North Korea, right when I was leaving, there was a skirmish in the waters, right? In the waters between North Korea and South Korea. You know, where they they basically share ocean water, right? And there was a little skirmish, a little shootout. But the only reason it was just a skirmish is because we were there, right? We're there to back up South Korea. Well, if we start taking troops from South Korea to try to go help Taiwan, North Korea is going to start escalating provocations. Yeah, that's going to be another distraction. We're going to be distracted all over the place. And the big picture is this. What happens back here in the United States once all those things start happening? Think about all of the invaders that we've had come over here in the last 3 years. And before that. But think about the exponential amount that came over the last 3 years. You don't think they're putting themselves in place? The ones that the Chinese nationals, the Arabic nationals, some of whom tried to infiltrate military bases. Y'all don't think they got some? Let me tell y'all, man. Let me tell y'all, if you don't own firearms, and you haven't trained in the use of those firearms, I suggest y'all go get some stuff. I suggest you go equip yourselves, get some ammunition. I suggest you guys go to Ammo Squared, where with a monthly subscription. Well, not a monthly subscription, but it's basically like a monthly subscription. So basically, you set an amount that you want, an amount in dollars of ammo you want, and they'll send you the amount, right? So let's say you want $300. You want to invest $300 before your shipment is triggered. So you get to choose the amount at which your shipment is triggered. And if you spend over $250, you get free shipping. So if you want your shipment to be triggered at $300, they'll send you $300 worth of ammo broken down in the types of ammo you want. Now, they choose which ammo you get, but it's not crappy ammo, y'all. I've been using them for a while, so I got... Never mind. No, I haven't. Let me just tell y'all. Right? We are going to need to be ready over here. There's this thing called optimism bias, right? Where basically, that all these atrocities occur all over the world, all over the country, all over your state, and all over your city. But because it hasn't happened to you yet, you think it never will. You think it never will happen to you. It will never happen to your family. It will never happen to your child. It will never happen to your daughter. Your daughter? What am I talking about? Whatever. Your child is your daughter. Anyway, y'all get what the fuck I'm saying. Optimism bias. You think it will not happen to you because it hasn't happened yet. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you two different idioms. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. And it's better to look at it than look for it. You understand what I'm talking about? And that is something that I learned from the last one. It's better to look at it and look for it. I got that from the very first journeyman I worked with, who taught me a lot about the electrical field. And we would pull wire to and from a location. And once we get it to that location, he would want to pull an extra 5 or 6 feet. And I'm like, man, why are we pulling so much wire out? Not for like little switches or receptacles, but like equipment, switchboards, panels, that type of shit. Because basically he said, well, it's better to look at it than look for it. It's always better to have too much than not enough. That's basically what that means, y'all. So you can never have too much training, never have too much ammunition. too many firearms is never too much. It's never too much. Especially if you have a large family. Now look, y'all don't have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on firearms. Y'all can go get some 22 long rifles. Y'all can go get some 38 pistols. Those are going to be relatively cheap. You can probably get a 22 rifle for like $200 something. Y'all can get a shotgun for $200. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can get pistols, $300, $400. Doesn't have to be high-end shit, right? The bottom line is, yeah, people might scoff at a 22, but an AR-15 or an M16 or M4 fires 3,000s of a round, fires a round that is 3,000s larger, 3,000s of a millimeter larger, or whatever, 3,000s of an inch larger than a 22. A 22 is not very much smaller than a 223. It's just not. And people use those very effectively. So you guys don't need to get no goddamn AKs and no goddamn you guys we don't need, y'all don't need that, right? Not just to defend your community, right? Because there might be people within your community that have larger shit. You know, they got more high-end weapons, and those are going to be the people that are going to you know, greatly add to the community defense. And that's what we need to talk about as well, community defense. But that's going to be in another live stream. Right now, I'm talking about the shit that's going on around the world that they don't want you to focus on. They want you to focus on Beyonce not singing at Kamala Harris's rally, and you know, them getting booed because Beyonce wouldn't sing. That's what they want y'all to focus on. They want y'all to focus on Joe Rogan and Trump, and you know, why didn't Kamala go to Joe Rogan? Can she sit there for 3 hours? Like, really? Really? Our so-called leaders, they desperately want us to be involved in forever wars. And they to get involved with North Korea versus Ukraine. I mean, Ukraine versus Russia. And, you know, Israel versus Iran. And what might soon be China versus Taiwan. And if this shit happens within the next year or so, we're going to be involved. And they might start up a draft. They might start up a draft. If they feel like they don't have the numbers, they might start to draft up. And they're going to come for your so-called grown sons and daughters to drag them off. And here's my problem. Maybe not your daughters, right? Your sons. Of course, your sons are required to sign up for selective service, whatever, which is basically the registry that they pull the draft from. But here's my thing, y'all. How ready are those people going to be that have to be drafted? They have to go through training, and their training might be rushed. Their training might be rushed. And as much as I'm not a statist or an anarchist, in a world that the powers that be have created where we actually need these militaries to, you know, prevent, you know, being conquered by our enemies. I don't see a problem with every adult male joining the military for 2 years at least. I don't see a problem with that. I see the necessity of a military. I see it. Now, did our governments create that necessity? Absolutely. But it's a necessity nonetheless. So why not sign up for 2 years when you turn 18? That way you ain't got to worry about being drafted, right? But at the same time, during peacetime, guess what? You're getting the training. You get trained for 2 years, bada boom, bada bing, you're done. You go back to living your life, but at least you have some knowledge, right? At least you know how to use a firearm, all this, that, and the third. Maybe even when your 2 years are up, you get assigned or given, a certain set of weapons and equipment. Nothing wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with that, because the necessity was created. Now, is our military being misused? Absolutely. Absolutely. But see, these are the conundrums you have to deal with when you are an anarchist, but you have a realistic view of how the world works. Yeah, it's a realistic view, right? Just like anarchists believe that freedom of travel is a thing and that everyone has the right to travel wherever they want to go. Well, the reality is it just does not work like that right now, right? Because of the atmosphere we have created around the world. And when I say we, I mean our governments. The world governments, the world powers have created an environment and created an atmosphere where freedom of travel is just wholly unrealistic right now. But there's a way to get to that. But before we can get to that, certain things have to be mitigated, certain things have to be, ironed out, certain things have to be established. Those things are unestablished right now. So just like with the military being necessary. Yeah, our military is necessary because the government has misused our military to create all these enemies around the world. And these enemies, I want you guys to understand. They don't give a fuck about civilians, y'all. No, they don't give a fuck about civilians. They don't care about your children. They don't care about your fucking dog. They don't care about your hospitals, right? Because those things are not supposed to. They don't give a fuck about a Geneva Convention, y'all. They don't care about a Geneva Convention. They don't give a fuck about no Switzerland. There is no Switzerland. Once this thing pops off, the Geneva Convention flies out the window. Just like the Nuremberg Act flew out the window when Modelo 19 came into play. Did y'all forget about that? I didn't. Anyway, see if I can read y'all comments. Nassim, I don't know how to pronounce that last name. I don't have enough time to Team Israel, Team Palestine. I think we're beyond that now, right? See, these false dichotomies is why we're stuck. Nassim, we're beyond that false dichotomy, that false choice. We're beyond that. Now we're talking about Iran, we're talking about Lebanon, we're talking about other countries. It's not just about Palestine versus Israel no more. It's not just about that. All conscription is basically saying the government is desperate during wartime. Well, yeah, that's the whole point. I mean, we could say that with all the governments, they're really not concerned about civilians. Well, yeah. It's just not. Now, the Geneva Convention is supposed to be the rules for war, right? But are there really rules in war? Who's going to enforce that? Who enforces this shit? Oh, I get it. After the war's over, yeah, then you can charge people with war crimes. But who enforces that? Y'all get what I'm saying? I hope y'all do. Anyway, I think I'm done for now, y'all. Thank you guys for coming through. But yeah, just a little bit of my thoughts about this whole situation. And look, here's the reality. We don't know what's true and what's not in regards to all this shit going on across the world. All we can go by is what we're told, right? By the propaganda machine. So what truths can we take from it? The best we can do is take a step back and look at what's going on and try to ascertain what might happen. Right? What might happen if this happens? Right? It's forecasting. That's all we can do. You know? So, it is what it is, y'all. But like I said, my suggestion is that everybody gets ready. Be ready to defend your homes. Be ready to defend your communities. And if you don't know your neighbor, it might be time to get to know your neighbor and have discussions. Because when it all comes down, we want to be isolated, or do we want to come together on one accord and have a better chance? That's really the question. Anyway, thank you guys for coming through. Much love, like, share, subscribe.